Hello. Thank you for prioritizing yourself by joining today. Just a reminder, please interact live if you're watching live. And if you're watching this later, interact as if you are live because it helps you remember things and it helps me know what's resonating with you. So it helps all of us when you do that. I always want to hear your comments and questions. Additionally, please don't worry about taking notes. I'm going to cover a lot today. And I will post a summary of this later in my Substack. And I'm going to link it into the newsletter this week. Remember to subscribe to my newsletter. Okay. The link is going to be in the comments. And if you go to my website, it's right on my website too. Hi, I'm Caroline. Welcome, especially if you're new here. Um, I'm a former white glove matchmaker turned certified NLP and life coach, and I specialize in helping daters manage burnout and recover faster from burnout because burnout is the part of dating when people think about giving up on the things that they really want in life. So, from working one on one with daters over the year, hundreds and hundreds of them, I've learned that having the right tools to manage discouragement not only keeps you aligned with your goals, but it also empowers you to pull yourself out of those tough moments before they spiral. So, I have some core beliefs that I operate on. And one of them is that you don't need to find your soulmate in order to be happy in life, like to have your happily ever after, right? Instead, what you're looking for is the ideal relationship, which is a dynamic that works for who you authentically are and what you want in life. So, my work is about helping you stay on the path to creating the future you want by focusing on your empowerment and the things you can control right now. And I also want to acknowledge that there are a lot of really heavy things going on in the world right now. And it can really make us feel helpless. And some people just say, I don't see the point in caring about finding an ideal partner in these times. And I completely understand that viewpoint. Opting out can feel like a form of protest that's well within our control. Um, I support that impulse. I understand that. But I also want to offer up that you still only have this one life to live, and continuing to advance your own personal goals to create the life you dream of is also a form of protest. You're entitled to seek happiness in dark times. It's how you cope, and it can help provide an anchor in times that feel really chaotic. So I do my best to keep things super constructive, positive, and focused on solutions. So if you're ready to shift your perspective, take back control, leave the blame game behind, and build the love life you deserve, you're in the right place right now. Okay, so let's go back to the topic today, which is dating apps. I'd like to share with you some really practical tips for getting better results that don't include spending more money on apps, as well as how to use dating apps while protecting your emotional health and where apps fit into a healthy dating landscape. Okay, so for starters, let's just talk about why apps in particular feel so draining. I mean, you're putting in the effort, right? You're swiping, you're chatting, sometimes even, going on the dates, right? But you might still feel tired, discouraged, or disillusioned. Rather than feeling excited or even just intrigued when you get a new match or receive a new message, you kind of just like sigh and look at your phone and think, what fresh hell is this? Right? Or you're just looking for reasons to disengage instead of reasons to move forward with learning about a new connection. And yes, I fully acknowledge that many people share things right away that are bright red warning signs for you. And we're not going to think about those. We're going to focus on maybes or I don't knows instead of hell knows. Okay. The hell knows are fine. Just move on. So let's remember that burnout isn't caused just by doing too much and not getting anywhere. It's about doing the same thing over and over without seeing meaningful results. It's not having a real strategy or plan, knowing your limits to protect yourself from feeling burnout, or even just not knowing yourself well enough to create a profile or answer basic questions in a way that attracts people to who you are more likely to be compatible with. So if you've ever thought, am I just bad at this? Like, no, you're not. You're human, and dating apps are designed to be overstimulating and unpredictable. And they're gamified. You know this, right? They are designed to give you that craveable hit of oxytocin in a way that is randomly reinforced to create FOMO if you're not interacting with them regularly, and that the downs get lower while you chase that hit, that good feeling again. It's like any other addiction. Um, they're designed to deliver diminishing returns. So you start thinking you need to pay or pay more to get better results. They're just a business. They're not a charitable service. They are a vehicle to deliver return on investment for their shareholders. They are not a vehicle for delivering love. And I say this as someone who did meet her partner on Hinge while I was a matchmaker. So, let me know in the comments if you've ever said, like, I need a break from dating apps and how long that break actually lasted. Like, what do you consider a break? And how did you know the break was long enough? So there are common misconceptions about dating apps. So let's talk about some of those. Um, Number one would be that it's just a numbers game. I mean, this mindset, it reduces dating to a chore. This is not a sales job where you have to make 100 calls to get one yes, right? More swiping doesn't equal better results, and it often just creates more noise and makes you exhausted. So, if you joined or watched the replay of many of my previous sessions around dating misconceptions and attracting versus selling, you know that focused and intentional strategy for how you spend your energy is the way to attract someone more likely to be compatible, as well as how to protect yourself from burnout and causing you to feel like quitting, right? So, myth number two is that you have to be on all the apps to find the right person. I mean, this spreads your energy so thin and it can lead to decision fatigue. I never recommend using more than one app at a time. Most women are on one or maybe two at a time, and most men use two to four or even more at one time, which is why I laugh so hard when people say that people on one app are somehow like different or more quality or whatever than somebody on another. They are the same people. They are often copy and pasted profiles. They are usually, if not always, the same photos. So you're seeing the exact same person. They're just presented in a way that you're finding more, that you're more receptive to. They are the same people. So when people say what's the best app, it's this is a meaningless question. Don't ask this question. There's no right answer to this question, okay? um Myth number three is that you should just relax and let it happen. And I don't know if anyone's ever said that to you when you're out there trying to meet new people and going on dates and exhausting yourself trying to find the person for you. When somebody says you should just let it happen, it dismisses your real frustration and denies the need for real strategy and emotional care. And it takes the control away from you when this is your life, your goals, your dreams you are working toward. If you had any other dream, would people tell you to just let it happen, or would you be expected to put effort toward it? It's not about, let's reframe it. It's not about doing more or caring less. It's about dating differently. So let me know in the comments if you've ever heard any of those myths, if anyone's ever tried to tell you that like people on, Bumble are better than ones on Hinge or whatever. Like, sure, apps can have different purposes, but I'm telling you, they are the same people. Like, they're the same people at the heart of it. It's not the app, it's the people. So let's talk about some practical strategies for getting better results. So, number one is you need to clarify what you're really looking for. And this is something I can help you do. And I do free sessions. I can help you do this. No problem. Okay. So, choose an app that matches your relationship goals, right? Some are known more for being casual, and some are known more for people who are long-term minded, and some are the whole gamut. And remember, there are people who want a long-term relationship, but also are open to things that are really casual. They're going to use both apps. Again, they're not better, right? It's the same people. They're just framing themselves a little differently. So choose an app that more aligns as best as you can with your relationship goals. But again, most of them have a wide range of goals. All right. But don't let someone who is up for whatever, if they say they're not really sure what they're looking for, waste your time if you're looking for something serious. Okay. You're allowed to want connection. Don't water it down to like just chatting and letting your time and energy be spent on anything that doesn't lead to a clear answer for you. So if you're having messages with somebody where you're not getting the information that you want to get in order to know if you want to invest further, then, it's time to be very, very clear and cut your losses because, you need to respect your own time and energy. You need to honor yourself that way. And if you're looking for better ways to have conversations in that talking phase, if you book a free session with me, I send you the conversation starters guide. I made a giant list of things you can ask that are different from your usual, like, how's it going today? How are you? What are you looking for on here? What do you like to do? Just the boring blah, blah, blah. What's up? And you're like, not, you're just so tired of answering those questions. So I have a long list of questions you can ask that can prompt better stories, better connections, some humor, some insight into each other, and we'll set you apart from the crowd in there. So if you book a free session, after we have it, I'll send you that guide. So, okay, the next step is to focus on quality over quantity swiping. So, what you're going to do is set a timer. I recommend 10 to 15 minutes max, and you're going to swipe only when your energy feels positive or neutral. All right. I say this all the time. If you've watched any of my podcast appearances, any of my interviews, like, nothing good happens from interacting with the apps when you feel bad. Nothing good will happen. Okay. So if you use apps while you feel down or discouraged, you're just contributing to burnout. The person who is meant for you could be right in front of you on that app, but when you have your burnout, your discouragement glasses on, you're not going to see them. You're not really looking, right? You're just kind of like going through the motions. It's not intentional. So set a time limit so you don't feel like it's something that's going to like eat up a ton of your energy. You don't remember, and you don't owe anyone your time just because they match with you. Even if you meet someone you like spending time with them and you're attracted to them, that doesn't mean you should have a relationship with them. You need to look for more elements of compatibility. Again, that's something I go through with my clients all the time. We can do that in a session, no problem. Okay. To figure out how you want to look for those factors of compatibility that you're looking for. But just remember, like, you want to protect your energy. Okay. You don't owe anyone anything. All right. Here's the other thing. Don't habitually just open the app. A lot of people reflexively open it or just think like, oh, I should check it every day and check my messages and things like that. Don't do that, right? Open it intentionally. Choose specific days or times to engage and then log off without thinking you will miss something. And when you log off, say, I'm not missing anything. Like, just say it out loud. Really believe, because you don't want to pursue a connection with someone who expects immediate replies or that you are instantly checking your notifications. So don't worry about someone unmatching you because you have a life. I mean, you want to match with someone who also has a life, right? And in fact, when I matched with my partner, I totally forgot because I didn't hear from him for a week. It turns out not only was he not like super skilled with the app, so he didn't know he should go in and like pause it or turn it off or inactivate it or whatever if he wasn't going to be checking it. He just didn't check it. He went out of the country for an intense work trip for over a week. So when I matched with him, he wasn't even checking his app. He didn't even have it on. He was like heads down, just work, 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 right? And if I had held the fact that I didn't hear from him for a week against him, we never would have met. He has a life, he has other responsibilities. Like, I've been on intense work trips where I'm like just, getting back to the hotel, crashing out really hard. Like I can't do anything. And I'm just so focused because it's a lot of peopling, it's a lot of FaceTime, it's tough. So I'm really glad that I wasn't like, oh, if he doesn't have time to check it every day, and then I'm not going to match his energy, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I didn't do that. I was like busy. I had my own life, and I wasn't thinking about who's messaged me back or who hasn't. I just was like, oh, I matched with this guy. I answered one of his questions. That's it. And I didn't think about it after that. Like, until they circle back, this isn't my business, you know? I had other things going on. So just remember that consistency doesn't mean constant. So you're not building, you're trying to build a habit. You're not creating a second job for yourself. So think of like cadence, which is just having a pace that suits you in your life and also lets people know what they can expect from you. So if you go, okay, after work, I get home, I have a glass of wine or whatever, I have a snack, and then I will give my app 15 minutes if I feel like it. Then you're setting the expectation with anyone you are having a message with that they're only going to hear from you in the evening after work or around dinner time or something like that. And you're like, that's it. I'm not on otherwise because I have a life. And if someone has a problem with that, they're not for you. So who cares? You don't have to show up for people just because they expect you to. Their expectations are their problem. So when it comes to your profile, remember your profile, it's not a resume, it's a vibe. You're trying to convey your personality. So focus your profile on your story, your voice, your energy, rather than like things you've done or places you've been. So ask your friends for help. I think that's the best advice you can have is because they're usually going to describe you how you come across to others better than you can. Remember that like you can control your intent, but you can't control how other people perceive you because they're always going to perceive you through their own lens. You have zero control over what anyone brings to within themselves to an interaction with you. Um, I think about like my friends, people who've met me professionally and things like that, have given me the feedback that I can come across as intense. And I don't really think of it that way. I'm like, oh, I just like care a lot. I don't really think about how expressive my face is all that much. But other people obviously look at my face and so they say, oh, you seem really intense. And to me, I'm interpreting that as like I'm expressive and I care. I care a lot, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Um, so I would rather like talk about things that are very important to me because if they're very important to me, it's going to be clear that I'm kind of an intense person. And then someone would know she's too intense. I don't like that. Okay, that's fine. If everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong in life. So you want people to meet you and either be hell yes or hell no. If someone's a maybe, then either you didn't tell them the right information or they're so unclear on what they want or who they are that they can't make that decision regardless of what you show them. So you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't know what they're looking for. So you're looking for a hell yes or a hell no. That's what it should be. So ask your friends. Ask your friends, like, say, can you give me some examples? Describe me and give me real examples, like real examples of when I've just demonstrated this. So then you understand, so you can place it and it's not just an impressive impression. Like you always want specific examples for everything. It helps. It helps you place things in time, remember what your mindset was at that moment, and you can kind of contextualize it better. So remember, like the right person isn't looking for perfection. They're looking for resonance. Okay. Resonance between you. There is research on how bonds are formed between people. And one of the strong ways that happens is through shared emotional experiences. So If you share something about yourself that evokes a similar feeling in the person who's hearing it, like you will be more likely to reach someone who might be compatible with you. My most important tip is to cycle out of apps. So, as I said earlier, you want to know when to take a break. So, we'll talk about how to know those signals that you need to detox from apps in a second. But one of the easy tactics to reduce the experience of diminishing returns, and by that, I mean matches that get worse and worse over time, either in number, like fewer and fewer matches, or compatibility factors, right? You're thinking about, oh, the day I joined this app, I was shown all of these eligible people who I might be interested in. And now it's been 6 weeks and I'm getting like seven a day. And they all seem absolutely bananas to me. Why would I be shown this person? It makes no sense, right? Based on my other behaviors. So, here's the thing, you never want to use an app for more than a month at a time. Or when you start to notice those diminishing returns, those suggestions getting more random, what you need to do is to delete not just the app, but your entire account. And that might not be in the app. Sometimes it's in the app. You can go to settings, you can actually deactivate my account, delete my account, right? Sometimes you have to actually go to the website, sign in and delete your account. People don't do that. They'll just delete the app. They're still going to live on the app then. Whatever the app has set and decided that what inactivity is, it might be 3 months of inactivity before they remove someone from match suggestions. It might be 30 days. You don't know. But in the meantime, you could be getting shown people who deleted the app. So you need to, but they left their account up, right? So you need to delete the account, not just the app. Okay. So you're going to absolutely delete your account. And then if you feel like you have some battery left in your dating charge, right? You feel like you have some room in the tank and you still want to be on an app right at that moment, switch to another app. Okay. And then start over. When you start getting diminishing returns, go in, delete the app, and then either take a break or try another one and cycle back through. Okay. Because yeah, when you first logged on, you were shown different types of matches than you were after a while. And that's because they want you to think that paying will improve your results. The app is the app and the people are the actual people, and the people are what the app commodifies to make money. So don't associate the people with the app. Anyone, again, who says that people on one app are better than the other, like, I don't know what they're talking about, because it is the same people. And paying an app that has created a design to gatekeep potential matches from you is a personal choice. You can make that choice to pay and see what happens, but don't get manipulated into it. Have clear eyes and understand, well, I'm choosing to pay. I maybe don't have to, but I'm choosing to, right? But if you haven't tried limiting your use and then full deletion of your account and cycling through different apps, and there are a lot more apps than the ones everyone talks about. If you go on the App Store, you're going to find so many more. There are so many more apps that are trying to break into the market that way. And you never know who might be on there. So it's worth a try, right? It's worth a try to see if you think, there's one that you haven't tried yet that looks like it might be aligned with you. But if you haven't tried those things, you might want to try them before you consider paying. I'm curious if anyone wants to share in the comments if any of you've stayed on an app for more than a month. I know I have. And how long you kept using one app with relative consistency. Let's say checking it at least twice a week. I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments. So now I want to talk about protecting your energy while you're going through the online dating journey, right? You can care about finding love without letting the process just crush your spirit. You can put effort toward your dreams without it feeling like grueling work. You can invest energy without draining your reserves and burning out. And you can set up guidelines for your app usage that protects you while also leaving some room to be surprised and to bend them when it feels right. And the more in tune you are with how you feel as you're dating, the more you'll know, the more easily you'll know when you might want to bend your rules a little bit. I generally hate rules, but I do believe in guidelines, you know, especially until you're really in tune with yourself. So, a way you can be in tune with yourself is to track your energy after each time you use the app. So, when you're done, you log out and you just kind of get in your body and just ask yourself, do I feel hopeful or heavy? Do I feel energized or drained? Do I feel encouraging or was this encouraging or discouraging, right? Like if you feel down, it might be time to take a longer break from the apps. It might be time to kind of reset your dating battery, get recentered, book a session with me, call your friends, do all sorts of things to kind of recharge your battery. But if when you log off, you feel bad, like that, this is not a good cycle. You're going down a bad road, okay? The next thing to do is like don't ghost yourself, right? When you want to shut down, ask what kind of support would help me feel inspired again. I've totally been there and I didn't feel like there was anywhere to go to help. My friends were either married or in the same boat and super discouraging to talk to and making me feel way worse. Or they were trying to put on a good front and weren't really willing to have a vulnerable discussion about it. So that's why I do this work. I don't want people to feel unsupported in this process. So make a self care plan for when you feel like shutting down. I have tons of previous sessions and more to upload too, that are about self love and self care. So just message me or send me a request on my website for the links. Um, Maybe it's like an activity or going on a hike or, enjoying a hobby or time with your friends where like dating and complaining about dating culture or relationships or whatever is just an off topic limit. You're just going to focus on other things, right? Take that space that you were dedicating to dating apps and working through that and just dedicate it to something else. And remember, dating is not a performance. You are not being graded. You're getting to know people and refining your own clarity. You're getting to know people enough to decide if you want to know more while learning about yourself and what works for you. You're having experiences and you're learning valuable lessons. So think think of dating apps like a tool in the bigger picture, right? They are a tool. They are not a strategy. You need a strategy to use them. They are not the strategy, okay? A hammer doesn't build a house on its own. A dating app doesn't create a relationship without your own intention, boundaries, and self knowledge behind it. It also should only be a side dish in your dating plan and not your main course. Your main course should be investing energy in activities and places aligned with your goals and values to expand your network of people who like and care about the same things you do, because you also don't know who anyone knows, right? But if you are engaged in an activity that is aligned with your values and you keep going, you keep showing up because it feels good and it makes you happy, you're likelier to meet more people. You're going to make more friends, make more connections, and you never know who someone's going to know, but it's going to keep you focused on managing your own sense of self worth and keep your own foundation under yourself really strong. So when you have a bad dating experience, because you will, it's just you kind of brush it off and you move on, right? If you are not relying solely on apps as a way to meet people, you're much less likely to burn out using them because Dating apps are just, they are a suggestion. They are not a prescription, right? They're not the solution. They are a tool. So, if any of this resonated with you, let's have a real conversation about where you're getting stuck and how to shift your experience. So, when you book a free session with me, we can review your dating profile together if you want to, and I will send you my exclusive conversation starters guide so you can stand out right away when you make a match and you send someone a message. But more than that, we'll talk about how to date from a place of clarity and not exhaustion. Also, on April 26th, I'm having a free workshop. So if you like what we covered today, but you want to get way more in depth and tactical, sign up for the workshop. It'll be on Zoom. And if you register, you get access to the replay too. Remember also to subscribe to my newsletter. The link is in the bio. Here it's on my website. It comes out every Friday. It is the best way to stay in the know about what's new with dating apps, self love, and so much more. People call it the Dating Digest. All right. So let's remember, just book a free session. Let me know in the comments like other topics you want to see me address or other questions you have about dating apps, and I can make follow ups. But I hope to see you at the workshop. And thanks so much for joining. I really feel like you can totally meet someone from dating apps. I know I did, and I know a lot of other people who did, but it is not the only way to meet people. And you got to remember, you got to get out there, you got to live your life. You got to see people. You have to fill your own tank, right? You got to recharge your own battery, all right? And get to know yourself so you don't end up wanting to give up on your dreams, right?